Howdy ho, neighbors. We're talking about something a little disheartening today. Should be fun. So in case you can't tell by the skeptile on my wallpaper, we're talking about Pokemon today. And we're talking about something pretty controversial related to Pokemon. Yay. So for any actual Pokemon fans out there, you guys already probably know about the whole National Dex situation. Given my quick opinion on that, I don't like the idea. I get what they're going for, I get the reason they're giving, but I also don't really fully believe the reasons they're giving. And really, if they really wanted to include every Pokemon, they could. For anyone that's not necessarily into the Pokemon games, maybe you just watch the anime, or you just remember playing it as a kid, during this summer at E3 they revealed that they were actually going to cut certain Pokemon for the next game. Their reason being because that they just didn't have the time or team members to get it done before the launch date, which, not a good reason since most of their team is working on some other project that I don't think is going to amount to anything really. It'll do okay, I think, but I don't think it'll go anywhere. But yeah, that has a lot of people steamed because everyone was worried about whether or not their favorite Pokemon's going to make it in. Even though, yeah, there's hundreds and hundreds of Pokemon, it definitely was a little worrying because even though there are some really obscure ones, the popular choice being Stunfisk, every Pokemon is someone's favorite Pokemon. So the idea of your favorite being taken away can be kind of scary. Especially when it means you have to wait who knows how long until the next game comes out and then hoping they make it into that game too. Anyways, I don't want to go fully into the details. We're more going to talk about the recent stuff that came to light. As far as we can tell, the entire Pokedex for Sword and Shield has been leaked. It's a credible leak, so we know everything in it is true. So, spoiler warnings in case you don't want to know about the Pokemon. I hope that's enough time. Including the Galar region Pokemon, there are only going to be 400 Pokemon in Sword and Shield. The Galar region doesn't even hit 100 Pokemon, so that's good. It means there are more Pokemon coming back, but it's still bad. Out of the 809 Pokemon from previous games, only 318 are returning. That's less than half. That's not good. Another fun little detail was that no previous legendary Pokemon will be in the game, which makes sense for the reasons they've given, being that they only want Pokemon that would fit in the Galar region to be there, and of course the legendaries all kind of belong to their specific region. So I understood it. I didn't like it, but I understood it. Then they also showed that there are going to be no previous starter Pokemon. The Pokemon you choose at the beginning of your adventure in every previous game, gone. Not allowed in Galar. Meaning, it doesn't matter what game you started with, except for Charizard, of course, you know, Game Freak's favorite Pokemon. Not even Squirtle and Bulbasaur, just Charizard. So it means, unless you chose Charizard, it doesn't matter what game you started with, you will not be able to take your very first Pokemon into Sword and Shield. Like my partner here. Don't cry. I know there are a lot of people that aren't actually bothered by the cut because they don't play the game using old Pokemon, but there is a large majority of the fan base that does, not necessarily for their first playthrough, but just whenever they want to replay the game, or some people do use it for their first playthrough. Don't do that to me. Moving old Pokemon through the games was just a part of the Pokemon experience to those people. I mean, it kind of made sense, especially if you grew up into the anime as well, because even though Ash would leave his Pokemon in a previous region to go to the next region, it didn't mean that that Pokemon was gone forever. There were plenty of times when he would bring specific Pokemon back to help him out. One of the more notable ones to me being Charizard in the Unova region, just because it had been so long. I definitely was one of those people as a kid. I started with Emerald with my Skeptile, and then moved everything over to Fire Red after playing through that the first time. And basically after that point, I would just move everything to the new games when they came out, and play it that way. usually playing it through at least once with just the regional team, and then playing through it a second time, moving stuff over, maybe adding other stuff from that region to the game. I wanted each of my Pokemon to be able to experience each region. That also made it that whenever I felt like it, if I had a certain team that I had already played through in one game, if I felt like replaying another game, I could move certain under-leveled Pokemon that I wanted to be a part of my team to that game. Stop! Which was always interesting, seeing stuff like training a Zigzagoon through the Sinnoh region or something. But anyways, at the end of the day, in my copy of Ultra Sun, I have my boxes of my team members and my partners' legendaries. So I figured I'd just go over and see how many of my partners will be able to go into Sword and Shield. Just to kind of give you guys an idea of what an average player would be able to move into Sword and Shield depending on their preference. It'll be different for everyone, but just with the ones I chose were just the ones I liked. So let's take a look at it, huh?
Okay, so I decided to edit out the part of me actually typing down the names just because I couldn't find a good way to edit it and keep it short. It was like an hour long, so we'll just get to the point after I've already typed it all down. So there you have it. Out of my 77 team members, I have 31 left. If you include the legendaries, that's 31 over 77. If you don't include them, that's 31 over 53. That means if you include the legendaries, I only get to keep about 40% of my Pokemon. And if you don't include them, I get to keep about 58% of them. Either way you look at it, that's not good. To think that I can only take about half or less of my Pokemon with me, I don't like that. Especially with the fact that every single one of my partners, how many do I even get to keep? 13? Yeah, none of them are even my personal favorites. Except for Umbreon. Charizard's cool too, but I still don't like the fact that he's in the game. So yeah, that's how many of my Pokemon I get to keep. That's great.
Yep, so that's it. After some careful consideration, after seeing those numbers, I have decided to cancel my pre-order of Sword and Shield. I get that the games themselves will be fun, and that not everyone plays this way. But a lot of people do. And I think Game Freak, along with the majority of the fans, take that for granted. Think of it this way. Every Pokemon is a favorite Pokemon to everyone. Everyone says that to prove their case for the National Dex controversy. But if you look at the numbers, that means that over half of the Pokemon are someone's favorite being taken away. I'm not buying Sword and Shield anymore. Yes, the game looks fun, and the new Pokemon look great. The story is interesting. But this is something that I care about a lot with these games, and a lot of other people do too. And I say that if that's something you care about, you should do the same. Don't support Game Freak's ideas. Don't support it when they do stuff like this. Because they very well could have focused on this game instead of Town, which I still don't believe is going to go anywhere. Now, I know there are a lot of people that go overboard with the Save National Dex stuff, and I'm against that. Don't threaten or be rude to the creators of the game. But on the other side, anyone that's okay with the cuts, don't be rude or treat people like they're being babies just because they do care about it. Because both sides are right. They're just right to themselves because it's an opinion-based issue. So while I agree that you shouldn't be rude to the creators or threaten them, I have to say I'm not on the neutral side anymore. I'm not going to promote these games like a lot of PokeTubers do just because they want people to keep playing Pokemon or because they really want to believe in the franchise themselves. I'm going to be one of the people saying, yes, fight for the National Pokedex. Don't threaten people, but fight. Show people you care, and show Game Freak, the Pokemon company, you care by just not supporting it. Don't go around being a troll on the internet or literally threatening people like I've said 5 times now. Just don't buy the game. If you don't buy the game, no matter how tempting it is to buy the game because you know it'll be fun, if you don't support the idea of them taking out Pokemon every generation, don't buy it. Because if you do, they'll just keep doing it. They'll think, oh, everyone's accepted this idea. Yeah, Pokemon are just virtual pets. They don't really exist, and it's stupid to care about them. But Pokemon like my Sceptile, I've had that Sceptile for a good 15 years. That's a lot of time. That's like saying, okay, I'm just gonna burn a stuffed animal that I've had since I was a baby because it's not real, so who should care? I don't know if that was a perfect analogy, but I'm trying. In the end, if you end up playing the game, I hope that you enjoy it. And if you are one of the lucky people who are able to take the majority of your teams with you, I'm glad that you're so lucky. Because this is a deal breaker for me. If Game Freak ends up going back and adding the old Pokemon into Sword and Shield, then I'll play it. Then I'll buy it. Or if they add them back in the next game, then I will buy Sword and Shield to catch up. I'm not petty. I will do that. But I'm not going to keep supporting this. I'm not just going to say, the game's going to be fun, so let's get it anyway. This was just a last minute rant. I'm sorry that I seem angry. I'm really not. I'm just really sad. That's all I wanted to say. Until next time, toodle-doo, neighbors. Toodle-doo, Sceptile.